everyone, it's Sean from What Up. Welcome back to another video. Today we're talking an exclusive clip from Wheel of Time Season 3 that came out yesterday that centers around Episode 5. It features a ton of different people. We have Moraine, we have Rand, Egwene, we have Swan, we have Lanfear. We have a ton of things going on in this. And we're going to showcase the clip here on the channel and then talk about it just a bit afterwards. So if you love the Wheel of Time, if you're as excited as I am about Season 3 that's going on right now, or if you just want to keep up with all the news and goings-on in the Wheel of Time fandom and things that are happening, consider making us your home for Wheel of Time news. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and of course, tell all your friends. Now, this clip comes to us from a bunch of different sources, but the Wheel of Time official account on X posted it. Screen Rant did an article on it. There's a ton of different articles out there that have them embedded, and people have already reacted to it. So we're going to talk just a bit about it today. It does feature some really cool stuff, but before we start talking about it, I want to let you folks know that we are going to do a spoiler warning for up to the end of Book 5. So that'll happen after the clip's done. So if you haven't already seen the third season, we're going to showcase something from Episode 5, which is upcoming. But then we're going to be setting a spoiler warning for up to Book 5, The Fires of Heaven. So if you haven't read books 1 through 5 of the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan, Eye of the World through Fires of Heaven, be forewarned, I'm going to run plot points and character arcs from that after the clip is done. All right, so let's get into this clip.
I have seen 1,000 futures. If the White Tower does not bend the knee to Rand al'Thor, he will lose the last battle.
I'm calling for a boat in the hall to cage the dragon reborn.
Bring me the truth, so I can take Elaida's head.
The time for watching him is through, Egwene and I. We're going to walk the dream.
All right, so we got the little spoiler hand of doom up there, folks. Just so you're aware, we're going to spoil up to Book 5. Now, the beginning of this teaser, which is wild, by the way, we see Moraine. We're picking up that small crystal ball, and she's drawing power through it. So we mentioned this in my breakdown videos and my Easter egg videos, but this crystal ball is Sakarnen. We've seen that in the last episode. So essentially, she recovered this from inside Rodian. She saw it in the Tree of Life, Avendesora. She took it, and now she's actively going to be using it in Episode 5, because we see here from this clip. Remember, this clip is all stuff from Episode 5. So just a quick Cole's notes on what Sakarnen is for the show is going to be one of the most powerful Sangreal in the world, and this one is going to be for women. So in the book series, there are two, one for men and one for women, and they're called the Chosen Call. They have the same name. They're two giant statues, and each statue has a Tel'aran'rhoid access key, which is just an object of power that lets people use these Sangreal from far away. And a Sangreal is something that amplifies your use of the power by a ton, like by a lot. And these are the most powerful Sangreal. So it really super amplifies your use of the power to the point where you could probably challenge the creator of the Dark One. At least that's what's said in the book series. And they are used in the book series, and they are talked about, and they are an important part of certain plot lines. Now in the show, they've kind of cut them out. They're using two separate objects of power, which are also in the book series, but in a different way. So this is Sakarnen, which is going to be the most powerful Sangreal for a woman in the show, which takes the place of the Chosen Call. And in the book series, this was Sangreal for men, and it didn't really look like this. It was more of an hourglass on top of a mace. It looked a little bit different. It was wielded in battle, and it didn't show up until much later in the book series. In fact, I don't believe it was ever on page until much later in the book series, except there was a short story that Brandon Sanderson wrote where the parts of it were found, if that makes any sense. But it's not within the main book series itself until like the last book. The second Sangreal that's going to be in the show is going to be Kalendor, which operates much the same way we think in the show as it does in the book series. It's a very powerful Sangreal for men. It's a symbol of the Dragon Reborn, and it has some other little quirks to it as well, but we're not sure if they're going to use those quirks in the show. So essentially, they took 4 Sangreal and they winnowed them down to 2 for the show. And we know for sure this is a Sangreal because they mentioned it in episode 4. And of course, look at Moraine's face here as she's using it. 100%, she's drawing far more of the power than she's ever felt in her life. Also, I've seen 1,000 futures, she's talking about her time in the rings. So she went through the rings in episode 4, and there's going to be some fallout from that. Now, in the book series, we don't really get to see what happens in the rings. She does reference it a couple of times. She says a few things will be disastrous. If she sleeps with Rand al'Thor, she bonds him. There's some other things that she does that will just end in absolute complete destruction for pretty much everyone. But one of the keys is that she has seen her own future, and she's seen that she must die, essentially. We've seen that in the trailer, we've seen that in the teaser trailer, and it's talked about in the books. And there's a reason we give a Fires of Heaven spoiler warning, because during Fires of Heaven, Moraine fights Lanfear, and they both fall through one of the Red Twisted Storm door frames, and it burns to the ground, so that they're effectively out of the story at that point for all intents and purposes. So this is likely referencing that. We're probably not going to get exactly that, but it's likely referencing that. She's also talking about the tower must bend knee to Rand al'Thor. If the White Tower's not bend knee, he will lose the last battle. That is a direct reference to some lines that were said in the books. And so here's the thing. Within the show, we're not going to get much beyond Book 5. And we're not doing spoilers for beyond Book 5 here. That stuff comes much later in the book series and will likely come much later in the show. We're talking seasons down the road. But we do get to see Siuan up here next, and she's calling for a vote in the hall, or Elaida's calling for a vote in the hall to cage the Dragon Reborn. One of the things that the Reds really want to do, and they think they should do, is control and hold the Dragon Reborn to the last battle. They understand that he's necessary. They understand that the Dragon Reborn should be there to fight the last battle, and that he's probably the only one that can win. However, he's still a man who can channel, and the White Tower likes control. Elaida especially super loves control. Siuan is a bit more loosey-goosey when it comes to that stuff than Elaida, which is saying something, because Siuan is pretty severe, but Elaida is incredibly severe. And it's one of those things where Elaida is setting the stage here. We see a lot of politicking starting in episode 4, and we know that within the book series, Siuan is deposed, she loses the Emerald seat, she is stilled, and she is captured by Elaida, who calls a vote in the hall, and then at that point makes herself Amerlin, so to speak. And also, she's responsible for basically poking Rand the entire time. Elaida becomes sort of an antagonist to Rand because she's had the mindset of a Red. She wants to control, to cage, to capture the Dragon Reborn. So they're setting all of that up right now, which I think is neat, even though we may not see some of this stuff for quite some time on screen if they follow the same arc of the books. And now we're getting Siuan back here saying she wants to take Elaida's head. Again, this is more politicking in the White Tower, more politicking in the hall against the Aes Sedai, different Ajahs and different factions, and I am all for it. I loved these portions of the books, and we didn't get to see enough of them, I don't think, in the book series, as far as I'm concerned, because I super love that. I'd read an entire book series of just politicking within the hall. That's my jam, folks. I super love that. Yeah, battles are nice. They're cool, but that stuff's really cool. So we know we're going to see some more of this next episode as well. And this here, the time for watching him is through Egwene Sedai. Now my face is kind of covering the captions there, but she is being called Egwene Sedai. So in the book series, Egwene masquerades as an Aes Sedai amongst the Aiel for a while. So does Nynaeve, Elaine. They all masquerade as full Aes Sedai while they're accepted. They have the rings and they pretend they're Aes Sedai. It makes it easier for them traveling. They're basically lying the whole time. This becomes a problem for Egwene because essentially the Aiel are incredibly touchy about honor and Ji'ito. That's one of the things that you don't do is lie. You always tell the truth. You're always honorable. You always do the right thing. And she does do this in the book. She does lie to them for that she's an Aes Sedai, and there are consequences to that. So here we see actual confirmation on screen that she's doing the same thing in the show. So I'm wondering how long this is going to go on and exactly what she's going to say and do to them, pretending to be an Aes Sedai, which I think is a great little call out to the book, and I can't wait to see how the fallout from that. And then you have Egwene in the dream world with the two wise ones, and then of course with Lanfear, and she has a little fight against Lanfear here. For those of you who don't know, maybe you haven't read the book series and you don't mind about spoilers, Lanfear is probably the most powerful person in the world of dreams. There's some debate on that, but I'd say, considering some of the secrets that get released in the 30th anniversary and different things that went on that Brandon Sanderson has said about Lanfear in the book series since within the last like 3 or 4 years, I would say that I could argue that Lanfear is the most powerful person in the entire real-time series in the world of dreams. And Egwene's trying to go toe-to-toe with her. And many people in the book series have gone toe-to-toe with Lanfear in the world of dreams. But by and large, they don't usually win. So we're going to get to see a little bit of a fight between Egwene and Lanfear in the world of dreams here, which I think is going to be absolutely wild to see. And especially considering they set it all up from Lanfear basically torturing her in her dreams as Renna, all the way up to now. So this could be the culmination of that. They're finally stopping that, and they're going to be a big fight. So let's get rid of this here. Episode 5 is going to be absolutely wild, folks. Comes out soon. We're talking just a couple of days away now. We're already into the week now, so it's going to be a couple of days from now. We're going to get episode 5. I love weekly drops. I didn't like the first 3 episodes being dropped all at once. The first week. That's just me, though. I want to see an episode every single week and have this drawn out. That's what I want. 3 episodes at once is too much. I want one at a time every week, just so we can savor the length of the season just a little bit longer. But either way, season's going to be done somewhere mid-April, and shortly after that is JordanCon, which I'll be attending. So it's going to be kind of wild that the season ends and then the Wheel of Time convention happens just afterwards. So it's going to be super fun. So let me know your thoughts and comments down below on what you think is going to be happening with episode 5. So are you excited about what you're going to see? Excited about what's going to go on? What are your theories? What do you think we're going to see in the next episode or 2? And just so you folks are aware, I'm doing a couple interviews today. So there will be later on this week some interviews from me coming out here in the channel. One of them I'm incredibly excited about, so I can't wait to share those with you folks. So thank you so much for sticking with us here to the very end, and here's to many more.